Welcome to Friday. Manx.News's weekly plod around the news, and for the first time in 2026, Sam Turton has decided to make an appearance, also known as Tweedle Tit.
No, you actually missed the joke, but we can't say the word that I did say.
Why can we not say the word that we did say?
It's a lot worse than that.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was going to call Juan.
Oh, well, you call him that.
And Juan Turner, also known as Tweedle Twat.
Thank you very much.
My mother's going to complain about this already.
I think we can.
We haven't even hit the intro yet.
I think we can bleep that bit and leave it to the viewer's imagination as to what I said.
What about lip readers?
We've got a big following amongst the deaf community.
Well, I'm not very good at lip reading.
But other people are. That's very ableist.
Read this.
It's very. You literally just had a go at me for how white I am.
Well, yeah. I mean, you live in the sunniest part of the island, and like, look, there's a cat wandering around. Her paws are like you're whiter than her paws.
Well, thank you. That's another complex I now have, Sam.
Well, we're going to get this started because I'm on a bit of a time schedule today.
Right.
Oh, fine. Roll the bloody credits. I know.
The credit, that's at the end.
Don't give a shit. It's like films, you just do the credits at the start.
Yeah, Emmerdale started doing that now.
Okay. Are we hitting the intro?
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to Friday.
I'm glad to see that you've taken control.
Oh no, Sam, look, because I never intro it when it's the three of us. So I feel like I'm really stepping on your toes. So I need you to... Well, A, I need you to explain where the hell you've been. And B, I want to know the biggest stories of the week.
Alright.
This is not like watching someone's
shit.
holidays videos.
But you know what we've actually just not even, said? He's got no glasses on.
No.
This is a big moment, Sam.
A lot of the bruising's gone, scars are healed.
And you do realise people listening on the podcast platforms won't know that because it's audio.
Well, more
That's a
for
good
them.
point, yeah. But, anyway. Yeah, all the, I've got, most of the things gone.
So it's all good.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. It'll teach me to get into a bar fight with Princess Diana's ghost, really, won't it? But there we go.
Right, Sam, where have you been? What have you been doing?
Well, I was in Amsterdam last week.
Yeah.
Actually, when you recorded this, yeah, I would have been in Amsterdam by then, yeah. Yeah, so I think you recorded like Thursday afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so yeah, I would have been in Amsterdam by then, yeah. It was alright, yeah, good time.
No, but what recreational activities did you get up to?
Went to the Heineken experience, which is a lot better than last time I was there.
Right.
They've put a little bit of money into that, done a lot of good stuff. Got a little Heineken tankard with my name in it.
Very nice.
Yeah. Went on a light festival.
Okay.
Which was really good. So you get on a canal boat and it's like unlimited booze. And then you could see them going like, here's a bucket of like 5 beers in it. And like they open them for you and they leave a little bottle open on the table and they come around, they're going, oh, would you like any more? How many would you like? And I was just like, a bucket.
Well, they open them for you.
They do the first two, it's welcoming you on board.
Oh, how very right wing.
And then after that, it's all very, just help yourself. And you go around and they've got like all these different light displays around the canal, which is really good.
And what was the best bit about that? The free booze or the lights?
Probably the free booze because it was absolutely freezing. Like
Yeah.
Amsterdam's had a lot of snow and ice.
Yeah, haven't they been having issues in that neck of the world with flights and things?
Yeah, Schiphol was closed for like 3 days because 2.5 inches of snow or something.
Oh.
So fortunately we got the boat in.
Yeah, I did say this last week because of your obsession with ferries. You decided to get.
No, it was actually just a really good deal.
From Newcastle?
Yeah.
I didn't know the boat went from Newcastle.
Yeah, it's like 15 hours, something like that.
15 hours?
It's quite good though.
It was a really good deal though.
No, you get on board, you grab a drink, right? And you got there's an all-you-can-eat buffet. And then there's a bar.
Is that included in the price?
No, it's like 30 quid.
No, right, so it's not included with the price then?
No, but then there's the bar's cheaper on board than most pubs on this island. And then there's an acoustic bit with a guy who's just in really quite broken English, tells you he loves George Harrison every 15 minutes.
Okay.
Tries to chat up the woman sat in the front row and then goes for a cigarette. It's just quite bad seeing a man play Blackbird several times. But, it wasn't a terrible performance. It was just that if you heard the stick on the way out, you heard it on the way back.
But what did you do for 15 hours? Was it an overnight ferry?
Yeah, then there's a band in the other room, which then becomes like a nightclub. And they've got a big cocktail bar and all that. And then, it was full of people.
I think I'd rather spend 15 hours in strange ways.
It sounds awful to me. It sounds like a cruise.
It was alright, it was really good. And then you get your cabin, so you get your own room.
Is the cabin included in the price?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you get your own room. But the biggest thing was that it was like included in this was a 4-star hotel, and the night rate on that hotel was more than we paid for the entire trip.
Oh,
So it worked out
really?
quite well, yeah. And Andre Rue and his guys were staying there.
Oh.
Yeah,
A 4-star hotel coming from a man who's drinking from a Labour Party mug.
yeah.
I know, for all the shit we get.
I
Can
mean,
you believe it?
the
Hey,
hypocrisy
this
here.
came from a viewer.
The
I was given this.
I don't
by a
believe
viewer.
you. I believe you. I bet you bought
Yeah,
it
what
with
are
your
you
membership.
what are you drinking out of that, Sam?
Pepsi Max Sherry.
It's just awful, isn't it?
Yeah, and there you go. That's a Labour thing. You've got a map for the cup, and you put the cup next to the map.
Well, you said being served on a boat was very right wing, but John Prescott worked. He famously was a catering staff on a cruise ship.
Was he? I didn't know that.
That's why the Tories, whenever he stood up to talk, used to always shout, "And a gin and tonic."
Oh, very good.
Bit of
Very
history.
good.
So yeah, I did that. Went to Anne Frank's house.
Tell me about
there's-
Anne Frank's
there's
house.
more.
I really want to know about Anne Frank's house.
I was surprised at how big it was. Like the actual sort of like hidden bit. Really cool museum, like really, really good museum.
Yeah.
They do like the history of like each person who was staying, who's like like hiding in there. Yeah, so it's a really good museum. Like the way they've done it is really really quite good. Tells like the whole experience of it, and there's so much of it is like, so it was all emptied out, and then like Otto Frank, who's like Dad was the only one who survived.
Yeah.
He went back afterwards and was like, "No, I don't want anything going back in. Leave it as it is." So it's like you see what the rooms are like there. And it's like the kitchen bit and all this, and yeah, it's really sort of quite, an interesting and quite moving place to go visit.
Oh, I'm glad you had a good time. Meanwhile, when you were off gallivanting, June and I were holding the fort together.
Yeah, it's a
And
shocking job.
Did we? No, fuck off.
We did a fantastic
I
job.
thought we did a good job. What was shocking?
Don't rise to it. Don't rise to it. We did a brilliant job. He was sat waiting to tune in for the moment the pod dropped. We can tell.
Right, well...
Have another sip from your Jeremy Corbyn mug. Calm down,
Yeah,
dear.
fucking bullshit. Right, so tell us, Sam, biggest stories of the week. Let's get into it. Or do we take a break and then get into it?
No, we'll do the quick one first, which for me has to be there's a lot of things going on this week, but for me the best story of the entire week has been the school snow closure from last week.
Yes.
So, anybody knows who got up early last Monday, schools were closed. We were expecting the announcement at 7.
Didn't get one at 7.
We got it at 21 minutes past 7, as was pointed out in Keys.
Yes.
And basically we had the Minister defending how that came about and why they said, but we may open later on today, we'll make a decision at 10:30. Members pointed out that some state-owned broadcaster was saying that the weatherman was saying it was going to be like, ice and frost for the rest of the day, but for some reason I thought the schools might open. So that's all a bit thing. So that was on the headline of Minister defends school closure dithering.
What's the problem with this? I mean, if you're a parent, right, and they're closed, and you can't get your kids in at lunchtime, well, you just keep them off, don't you? I mean, what's the problem?
I think the big problem was that basically they said it, we're going to let you know at 7, then they didn't.
Yeah, okay.
21 minutes past 7, they go, the schools are closed this morning, but they may open this afternoon.
Right.
While at the same time, the buses are going, look, we ain't going to be running for a long time here. And eventually they got 3 routes running in the morning.
Yeah.
So it was we're going to have no school buses, there's going to be no school food. Parents who could have gone to work, if they could get to work, now can't because they've got to stay home with the kids. But they're saying,
Yeah, but the buses weren't running anyway, then.
No, but I think equally, the main point as well for parents that were going to work. There'll be a lot of parents that have said, "Oh no, I can't go in this morning because I've got the kids, but they're meant to open at lunchtime, so I'll come in then." And it's just make a decision one way or the other. What's the point in a half day for them to then go in for 2 lessons and they weren't going to get lunch either? What's the point? Just make the decision. Schools are closed all day. Everyone knows where you're at.
But I think that's a nonsense.
I think it's just let everyone know.
You could have the school at Andreas, where everybody lives within 5 minutes away, could be fine. But the one in Onken might be completely iced up. Why can't you just... If your kids go... mine went to Moround, which is 200 yards down the road. Mm. Now, if the staff could come in and open, surely they should just put on... I'm not interested whether Ashley Hill School is open. I don't care.
It's easier to just say they're all
but that's a nonsense, isn't it?
But also,
that's
you're
bureaucracy,
saying that. It's not. But also, you're saying that. Bureaucracy would actually be going, let's do it individually, school by school.
No,
but also, you're saying that. You'll say, your kid can walk 200 yards down the road. What about the teacher who lives in Peel?
Well, that's the point. If the school can't open, then I want to go on to Moround page
But I just
and go, Moran is shut. I don't give a hoot whether Castle Rushen's open. That has no interest to me whatsoever.
I think you just go in the morning, right, the roads are shit, all the main roads are iced over, let's just make one blanket decision. It's just easier.
What?
Which, if you look at it, is what
for who?
Yeah, but
well, for everyone.
everyone.
Why?
Well, because then everyone knows where they're at.
Yeah, but what?
You also have
certainty.
You
I just
also
want
have
to
the police and the DOI saying don't go on the roads.
Yeah, well, they do that all the time because they can't be asked. We talked about that last week. The point is that it should just be the school, the people in the school, they're all separate operations effectively.
Yeah.
So if they can't open, they just say, we're shut today. But if that school there has got the staff that can get in...
does the school have the authority to do that, or does it have to answer to the
No,
department?
the authority has to be with the department.
Yeah,
right, so then everything you're saying is irrelevant.
No,
because if it falls with the department, the school can't make that decision.
Well, that's changed.
That. Right,
back in my day, the school used to decide...
According to what we got anyway this week, it was...
Yeah. Well, this is the point I'm making, that this is just typical
over-managing
things. Yeah, but how many kids do you send to school?
None. How many do you send to school?
One. Well, not now.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly! So none of us
But I remember what it was like.
Right, okay.
Okay. So, anyway, off the back of that, we then get to about whether teachers were going to be paid or not.
Yeah, no, this is really quite funny, isn't it? Because
this is actually one of my favourite things that has happened in a long time.
What happens when it's centralised?
So, the Education Minister said that basically there was a thing sent out about snow days for departments. So, as I understand that certain departments aren't paying their staff for that snow day because they couldn't get in. As a lot of people have pointed out on Facebook, they don't get paid either. Teachers are not on the same contract system. So they've got, their own thing. So so Daphne Kane stands up and says the department met with head teachers last week and clarified we are continuing to liaise with central HR as the department chose to close the schools, and we will confirm the position once known. We then jump forward 24 hours.
She looks like a right fucking idiot here, doesn't she?
Yeah, this doesn't look good, to be fair. So on Wednesday, the department says it will be paying lecturers, school and UCM staff will be paid for days where the school is closed. So, despite being able to say on Tuesday whether or not they're going to pay them, on Wednesday it was in line with long-standing practice that they would be paid, and that following the closure, blah blah blah. It was a routine all-staff bulletin outlining the public services policy on attendance during adverse weather, which makes it clear that DESC has separate protocols for schools and teaching staff. Again, no problem with that. But then the last bit is Mrs. Kane saying, I want to reassure teachers, school staff and UCM staff that they will be paid for any closures due to adverse weather. This has always been the department's position. So now we have contacted the department to ask since when it's always been their decision.
Because it wasn't the day before.
Because infamously, it wasn't on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it has always been the policy on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So at what point did it go from being unsure to always? So we've emailed the department about that and a couple of other things actually, which we have not heard back from. But I think they still claim my emails go into their spam folder. So,
but is this not just classic though? And I think this is actually highlights everything to basically it gives us the evidence of what we've been saying, that these ministers actually have no clue of what's going on in their departments and they don't know what's happening, and it's the civil service running the show. Because surely your minister, if they knew everything, they were actually calling the shots and they were clued up, she should have known that on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was an interesting thing actually with the airport where it was brought up that, the airport was also closed last Monday. And the DOI minister was asked about this and she said, look, we took the advice and I follow what the guys at the airport say because they're the experts, and if they say we've got to close today, we'll be closed today. So yeah, going, all right, well, if there's a clear decision-making process in one department, as was said in Keys, why is there not another? And why was the airport getting different?
No, because an airport is totally different to a school. I mean, this is the problem with government, isn't it? They try to do everything with their little textbook and they're not in the real bloody world. An airport is nothing like running a school. So if an airport's closed, that's for an airport. Just because everything's run by the communist state here, they try to run everything the same. It doesn't bloody work.
No, but the whole point being is that there's a simple process that the DOI followed. And the DESC, for whatever reason, either didn't follow its process, it took too long to follow its process, or it doesn't know what its process is.
Yeah, but that's the
I
point,
think that's
isn't it?
the key
So comparing
one.
it to the
I don't
airport,
think it knows.
No, but the comparison just helps in the fact of saying that the DOI, which let's face it, we have given a lot of criticism to over the top of the show, we have to say, do you know what? They went, look, here's what the position is. We're not opening today because we can't. This is what the guys at the airport are saying. This is what the Met Office is saying. we're closed.
Yeah, there was no dilly-dallying or letting
No.
they were very clear with, we're closed, it's going to be closed.
And then
today,
even then
and
they said,
that's
look,
that.
tomorrow morning we may have similar problems, but we're hoping the rain might wash it away. We'll let you know as soon as we can.
Right. Well, I want something about this paying people. What's your stance on this? If I decide to close my business for the day, that's my decision. Why should the staff not get paid? But if I'm open and you decide not to turn up, then you shouldn't get. Then if it's in your contract and all that, obviously everyone's contract's different. But if you then choose not to turn up, then you shouldn't get paid. But if I'm closing the business down for the day, then I should still pay you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I?
Yes.
So I don't understand what all this fuss was about, to be honest.
The department,
If the department shut the schools down, despite that Sonny Andreas was basking in, soaring
Evidently not.
temperatures
Actually.
up there.
evidently not. She's got no
Ice is
talent.
Yeah, I know, I'm just being flippant. But the point I'm making is that there could be schools that were open, could have opened, but if the business shuts down for the day, it's not the staff's fault, so they shouldn't be not paid for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it all boils down to the simple thing of the DESC doesn't seem to know what it's doing.
No, well, there we go.
And I know from speaking to at least one MHK who told me that she was fully aware that teachers were getting paid before Tuesday morning sitting.
But this highlights
So-
what I was saying before about this whole centralised control over everything. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Why don't you just let head teachers run their bloody schools? And if the staff can get in and they can open, then it's up to them. And me as a parent would then say, well, I can't get the kid in today because the estate's all iced up, or my staff can't get in to show for the kids to school. Therefore, they're not coming in. What's the
Is
problem?
that what you used to make JP do, is it?
Yes.
JP, take the children to school.
Yes, he'd turn up on point. But that I mean, we're becoming so bogged down in procedure. The common sense has gone out the window.
Common sense has completely gone out the window. Like, it has.
Completely out the window. And give the control back to the schools, because as I say, it's not unusual. For example, when we had that snow day, one half of the island was full of it, and the other half, it was just
The west was completely
slush.
fine, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It was the east and actually up round us was really quite
So you're
icy.
shutting down all the schools where everybody in Peel, for example, could maybe get to the cloth workers, and the QE2. I mean, QE2's a wider net, but
I mean,
this is what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. You're very ranty about
Thank
it.
you.
But I understand where you're coming from. But
There's a
equally,
book coming here.
well, there is, because with what the current, how the rules work, it can't work, because if as Sam said, if the department have to give
Change
the
the
go ahead.
rules.
Yeah, but with what they were given, what they've currently got on that day,
Who's they?
the schools and the Department of Education,
Right,
like
okay.
what happened last Monday is what I'm saying. The rules haven't been changed. So with the rules that are currently there, obviously, then they're just going to have to shut all schools. So your argument's a little bit...
But you're about these rules. Whose rules? I mean, they can just...
Is this a
change
moment
the
that we
rules.
remind him of his position?
If you're wondering what's going on, it's the cat is behind you,
Oh,
rattling
Jesus
the blind.
Christ.
Yeah, here she's getting involved. Look.
You
She's
once
completely
upon a time were one of the people that was setting the rules, Juan.
You want some? Yeah, but I was always against the rules. I was voted against them.
Right, and should we take a break?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, before we do that, I've got one final thing.
Oh.
There's
What?
no evidence that schools banned Christmas carols.
Right, so where's this come from?
No one really seems to know, and the state broadcaster did ask Julie Edge about this, and she wouldn't say. But apparently, so she said in Keys that she asked this question about which department schools do not allow the words of carols to be sung during Christmas events. Daphne Kane said, look, we don't know, we don't collect that information, but we've gone around and asked, and none of them have said that they did this. So Julie Edge said she'd received factual information from constituents. Well, she said, was it constituents or was it... Anyway, she said she's received factual information about a school where this occurred, warning that without clear guidance, teachers from the UK who move here might impose different rules. I don't really know why. And then, basically, so Daphne Kane said, no, we don't have a policy on Christmas carols. It's just schools are meant to be inclusive, and if they want to sing Christmas carols, then crack on, basically.
Yeah.
And then, so she then said, this feels a bit like fear-mongering. Juliet stood up and was like, no, this is not fear-mongering. I do not stand in here and hearsay or fearmonger, it's factual information I'm bringing here to ask a question, but then wouldn't say what school. So,
well, that to me is a bit smoke and mirrors, because the question is it the case that there's no that there's this ban on Christian carols or whatever? The usual response when people go, well, who told you that? Never mind that. Is it true? If it's not, just say so. Because
well, that's what Daphne said.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But what happened? There becomes this obsession on who told you, and that's because they can then go on the witch hunt against that person.
Yeah, and it's sort of irrelevant.
And it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's a question of, is it the case that you can't sing Christmas carols or not?
Yeah.
And the department has answered the question. Now, if Julie's got this evidence, then maybe it's up to her to either come forward with it, or she suffers the threat that people will then say, well, you're discredited because you're not coming forward. But what this really is about is people want to know, well, who told you that? That's what it's about.
Well, no, it's about, well, if you've got evidence of it, what school? Because none of the schools have come out and said they did this.
But in that case, then rather than play that out in public, Julie should go to Daphne and have that conversation and say, will you look into this? Because if there's something in it...
Julie, we're in the fucking news business.
Yeah, I know.
We want them to do it in public.
We do, of course we do.
This has been one of the best read stories of the week.
It has. In which case, yes, absolutely. I totally agree with the man with the Labour Party mug.
Thank you.
And on that
Cheers.
note, let's take a look at that. Two worlds collide, Labour and Le Creuset.
That's like that. That's like that meme, where it's like America and Russia come together. Like,
hang on, which one's which?
You've
got to be
you're
Russia.
Definitely America.
Are you Putin?
Ah.
On that note,
Yeah.
break.
Welcome back to Lefty.
With your sugar-free Coca-Cola.
Welcome to Friday. And we're here having a great time. That Labour Party mug isn't going to survive to the end of this podcast. You do know that I'm watching.
You're going to smash things.
I'm going to blow the thing up in the garden later on.
Oh my goodness.
You wouldn't do that. It might damage your chickens.
Right.
You're right.
You two shut up. Juan, you did a story on Thursday morning that I want to talk about. The last ride at Doon.
Usually, whatever stories I do, you don't want to talk about. So
No, but I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
DIY ban ends decades of motorcycle tradition. So,
Yes.
So talk to me about that then.
Right. Motorsport has been something that the Isle of Man has been very proud of.
It's one of the Isle of Man's USPs.
Well, it's not anymore. The government basically killed off the rally. We had one of the biggest rallies in Europe here.
Yeah.
Thousands of people used to come here to the Manx International Rally. We had massive events, motorcycle trials. The Trial of the Nations has been here. There's
powerboat racing.
The powerboat racing. We had there was a trial on the Isle of Man. There's some old clips on YouTube, and what's really funny is I think it might even be black and white footage. And there's old ladies out watching it. Like the old ladies you used to see with the white curly hair, the glasses and the little shopping bags. They're out watching these events. They were massive events. And what we've managed to do is we've managed to kill them off with the usual Isle of Man government bureaucracy. And it's a shame because, that we've got such fantastic backdrops for these events. And, even the likes of the great Colin McRae and people like that used to say the Isle of Man could have been a place for a round of the World Championship back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, what's happened this week is, it happened actually back in November, where the quarry at Doon, do you know where that is? Not Doon, but the quarry.
Yes.
It's a disused quarry, basically, that used to belong to the DOT. And for years, motorcycle trials have been able to hold events there. They go in, they have the sections. I remember watching lots of 2-day trials out there.
Really popular events.
Absolutely. They've used South Barrule Quarry, they've used glens, hillsides, everywhere, the rocks down at the beach and everything like that. Well, somebody somewhere has decided that they can't use it anymore.
What?
So there was an FOI went in, which was released a few days ago, confirming that the DOI had restricted use due to a health and safety review.
Oh, fuck off!
Exactly.
Are you joking?
It's, this is airport steps again, isn't it?
Just get them to sign a disclaimer.
But the interesting thing about it is that the FOI cited exemption for personal data. Well,
What?
okay, don't tell us who made the decision, but tell us why they made the decision. But as usual, these departments are hiding behind this personal exemption all the time.
The poor trials riders and Enduro riders they've not got many places left to go now, have they?
Well, no, I mean...
And I think this is criminal due to the fact, we have produced some of the world's best riders, and also, we're quite happy to monetize and be screaming about the TT. Fucking hell, DFE has the part of a motorsport bloodied agency or department, whatever you want to call it.
Well, no, it's the TT department.
Yeah,
they don't do anything. They don't do anything.
But they call
else.
it motorsport.
Yes, they do, which is completely
and
disingenuous.
It's wrong, and I think when you see stories like this, it really fucks me off. Because I think of how many talented bike riders we've had through and how we love to sell the island as this place for motorsport and for bikes when it fucking suits.
Your pen's gonna be running out of ink with all these expletives.
Oh, I know.
But it is when it suits, isn't it?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Actually we should be nurturing these people and be giving them places to ride because we're quite happy to monetize off them when it comes to the TT.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a weird thing in motorsport where I have a massive respect for TT, the ones who raced on it. Don't care about F1. I think rallying's really cool, but we don't do that much here anymore. This stuff is just a case of when they did the same, they did very similar stuff to Wind.
Yeah, well, I made reference to that because I was sort of involved in all that row, trying to get that to remain open, and then COVID came. There was meant to be a big public meeting, a big showdown with Geoffrey Boot, who was the minister at the time. And then COVID arrived, and no one could, conveniently for DEFA, COVID meant nobody could.
Are you suggesting that COVID was a definite?
Yes, yeah, they would get COVID. We want to cancel this meeting. But the point is, they went ahead and shut the mines down, and they blamed it was on silt going into Peel and all the rest of it.
I think what's really also annoying is the fact that, especially, I'm going to focus on enduro, not trials, but let's put them in the same category. A lot of the riders that participate in these events, that's sort of their entry into then deciding to go into road racing or circuit racing. They generally start enduro or trials. And if you're starting to take those opportunities away from them, then it's much more difficult for them to then to progress into different to different parts of motorsport.
You'll know better now. The rally that they held that was held last year when I went up to Druiddale towards there to watch it.
Yeah,
what was that one?
Disclaimer: I was involved in that one. Yeah,
but I was up there just that house as you come up from Druiddale,
Brandywell Cottage.
Yeah, I was up there. There was easily 50-60 cars parked up with a good couple hundred people in the hedges watching it.
Yeah,
and you're just there's an appetite for that stuff on this island.
Yeah, there is.
And I don't understand why we're not pushing this more, because everything is, like you say, brand TT, and if it's not the TT, they don't give a shit.
Well, what's happened is they've completely ruined it because...
But they've ruined the TT as well.
Well, yeah, but they pour lots of money into that. But if you take rallying, for example, when we were really big here, we were like a major round of the European Championship. This was big stuff for the Isle of Man. Then the UK, because you couldn't go closed road rallying in the UK. There was one event allowed in Scotland, and Ulster had some events. An event, the Ulster Rally, but the Isle of Man was still known as the mecca of rallying in certainly the British Isles. But then Wales and England started to say, hang on, we want a bit of this. And I said at the time, this is a big threat to us because people come here to rally on the Manx roads. If they can go and do road rallying on home soil and don't have to pay the £3 million it costs to come on the ferry, because you don't just bring the rally car, it comes on a trailer.
Yeah.
You have a service van, you have a load of people that are involved with you. So two people in a rally car,
it's a team event, isn't it?
They might bring 10 other people with them.
Yeah.
So it's big business for the Isle of Man. And I said, England are going to get the power to close roads soon. We need to up our game. We need to make ourselves even better. What did the DOI do? They made it so bureaucratic to organise an event, they killed it. We lost the Manx International Rally. And what's happening now is they're doing the same to smaller events like the well, in this case it's trials, but as you say, enduro and all the rest of it, a lot of the same guys do a lot of the disciplines.
And also, we used to have a lot of people come over and make use of these and like enjoy it and come over with their trials bikes, come over with their enduro bikes. Are we going to see that end as well?
Well, even the likes of some of the TT riders do trials. Nathan does it. The brilliant Mick Grant, back from well before your time. Mick Grant often comes to the 2-day trial and possibly the classic trial. Now those events, 2-day trial, still as successful as ever.
Good.
But decisions like this are going to restrict where they can hold their sections, and it's just, to be honest, it's a pattern of decision making that it's just like everything is. Well, the answer's no. What's the question?
Yeah, but I just think it's really hypocritical that 1 minute we're happy to literally be so up the arses of bike riders for those 2 weeks a year, and then we sort of flirt around with the MGP, but then the rest of the time we're like, nah, go stuff yourselves, we're not giving you anywhere to ride. I just think it's very unfair.
Yeah, it does also, I think, it puts a greater sort of thing on. I know that there's more involvement now from the ACU on the 700. But it does also show how hard that event has got to be to run.
Yeah.
And, that, again, it attracts people to the island, people who come just for the 700.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that event's being not shafted, but talking to someone who's involved down there and does a lot of the racing and stuff, the travel links to come to the Southern 100 this year is appalling. So it's like, we're trying to grow these events, but then the government doesn't do anything to make sure the travel... Nothing works. Like when you're trying to get... Like, there's a flight from Liverpool on Monday, but there isn't one on Tuesday, Wednesday, or that sort of thing.
Well, it's like we were saying the other week when you had the cancellations of flights.
Yeah,
and there wasn't a flight to Manchester for 2.5 days. There wasn't a flight to Liverpool for 2 days. You couldn't get on a Gatwick flight for 3 days. And so the only option was Logan Air, and they had no space on their 1-2 flights a day. And you're just like... So you've got nothing in the boat.
But this is what it comes back to the events.
Yeah.
That the government are in control of all of these things.
It
just makes it hard to organise anything on the Isle of Man.
Or then when they want to get involved, then they rip everyone off when they're coming over and whack all the prices up.
Mm-hmm.
Or I do think that they're killing the TT. I hate how corporate they're making the TT.
Oh, I don't.
I think it's wrong. It's not F1. It's a working man sport. Let it be a working man sport and look after it, but don't have these hospitality tickets at however much they are.
I think you have to have them at every event. I don't disagree necessarily
I just think all
with that.
of that is just nonsense.
I just think the corporate clampdown on it's just it just looks more corporate. It feels more it just doesn't look well it. It looks like something trying to price itself out.
Do you know what I think of now, though?
It's like football, right? It's like Liverpool. Liverpool do not give a flying fuck. They do not want people who have season tickets. They do not want people going every week who spend 50 quid on a ticket, because they are people who do not spend money. So you don't get, your bike fans who come here spend money in the pubs. Yeah. They don't go and buy, very expensive TT merch. You want your people coming in here for 1 or 2 days, doing like if you go to the Grand National, if you go to the F1 in Monaco or something, it's an event trip now, isn't it? It's not a festival
I think that's
trip.
what they're trying to do.
Well, that is literally their plan, because of the way they organise the races now. But by doing that, you dilute why it worked in the first place.
Yeah, and I just think, I don't know, maybe I'm just being a really cynical, miserable old bastard.
Oh, we're getting old, Charlie.
But you know what, though? When I see the bellends and the bucket hats acting like they bloody love bikes and they love racing, and I'm sorry if I like...
There's definitely a picture of me in a bucket hat.
I'm sorry, but
last year.
And I think it just really annoys me, and I watch them all swanning around, and actually they have no interest in the sport. They have no idea what it's taken for these riders to get here. They have no idea of the cost implications. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's just because, they're just a spectator and it doesn't matter to them. But I think, and it also goes quite a lot, I think, of government members too, they don't get what's gone into those guys that are racing around there and what they're putting on the line. And actually, for some people, when it doesn't end well, it leaves behind.
Don't forget, Channing Tatum is going to be the first American to win a TT.
I couldn't give a flying fuck about Channing Tatum.
There's another one.
Do you know what
Mrs.
I mean?
Turton. I do apologise, Mrs. Turton.
But I couldn't.
We'll
I just
wash
think
her mouth
it's,
out
I just
afterwards.
think it's a working man's sport, and it's a bloody good sport to be proud of and to be part of, and it's brilliant. But stop trying to make it into this like
Well,
into the
we've
F1.
sort of gone off from
Sorry.
trials into
Just
TT.
don't mention T-based services because I'm definitely not in the mood for
that'll
that.
trigger you.
either.
But
However,
can I
anyone
just
who
talk
does
about
want to come
TT?
and watch the TT, please do come to the
Yeah.
island.
Can I just mention about the TT? I've got an interesting one on this, and this I think is the problem. I'm not a huge fan of the TT per se.
Mm-hmm.
I'm involved in it in that I'm involved in the television production,
Do you
but
work in TV?
just because
It's one for JP.
I'm not a fan of the sport doesn't mean I think that it should be stopped.
No, I don't think it should be
You know,
stopped.
and
I
it's
think
the same with
brilliant.
other sports. And if we come back to the trials, there's people who don't like it because they're just, they're just hooligan people ripping around on trials. And this is the problem I think we've got. Because somebody doesn't like it, well, we'll stop that and we'll blame health and safety. And I think, this is where we're too often coming up with this, the answer's no, what's the question? And this thing with the quarry, I think, is just the tip of the iceberg. Because where I think, just coming back to this, is the DOI are blaming this health and safety review. Well, apparently that review was undertaken about quarries 2 years ago, but suddenly now...
So it's so vital they moved in November.
Yeah, you know what? And if it was so vital, why did they let them have the event in November? But the difference is, of course, Doon is a dormant quarry, whereas Stony Mountain and the others are still active. To me, it just doesn't add up.
I just don't think it adds up because we're trying to make out that we're an island that loves motorbikes, yet we're banning some of them.
Well, we don't seem to like anything. I mean, this is the problem. We make it so difficult, and this is because we've got too many people in government dealing with things. They've got to justify their own jobs, and that's what's going on.
Well, look, just a quick thing before we take a break. Look at that, the FOI which came out. I don't think it's just motorsport, I think it's sport.
Which one?
The FOI which came out this week where it was like football, rugby, hockey, netball, I want to say cricket was the fifth one, where it's like, how much money have the associations that run these events or like has been put into these sports. And there's got to be other figures floating around because it seems like an incredibly low amount. For an island which produces like ridiculously outnumbered, for our size, produce far more really good athletes than we should do.
Much talent, yeah.
But I'm like, how are we only putting this little money into it? There's got to be something wrong with that.
This changed a while. Was that through the sports aid sort of thing?
It wasn't clear as the problem with that FOI. It's how much money they received from the DESC.
Because I thought that Isle of Man Sport hasn't been receiving as much as it used to. And was that since COVID?
But let's face it, I get a bit annoyed, but the Isle of Man tries to claim all these people of look at what we've produced.
Yeah, because what have you actually done to help
They've
them?
done, a lot of these people have had very little support. I mean, I don't want to embarrass anybody here, so I won't name them individually, but they've had to leave the island to go and achieve.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about the big stars here. The bulk of people have to go off the island. I know of a young lad who's doing athletics. He's gone off to, I won't say because, as I said, it'll identify who they are. There's young cyclists that are away every weekend. So, yes, where they're Manx, but if the government are so committed in sport, then it pisses me off that they're quite happy to take the glory, but then not invest in it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is a big matter. I think that to me, there's a lot of things. Even just stuff that I can see. I can see. I'm down at the bowl quite often. You can see that needs money put into it.
Yeah.
You can see the state parts the NSC is in.
Mm-hmm.
We still haven't got what the hell that tile problem is. And there's one of the pools closed again now at the minute. Was that reopened yet?
No idea, but
No clue.
But stuff like that where you say going, this should be so much better than what you get. And then you go around the island, you look at things, you could make improvements at every school that's got astro pitches. We've still got an argument whether Castle Ruston should have a swimming pool. And you'd say, like, why are we not? That should be something we're paying for. That should be, as an island, we should be investing in this sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely, I agree.
And this is part of it with the quarries and the thing. You should be there going, well, hold on, if there's a health and safety issue, that it's a genuine health and safety issue, It shouldn't be, so therefore we're cancelling it.
No,
it should
no,
be.
no.
How can we
So
fix
hold on,
it?
hold on.
No,
so
it's dead simple. It's dead
what
simple.
can we do?
It's
Yeah,
dead simple.
absolutely,
These
Sam.
this is not just the Dew and Turner, Sam Turton informal, let's get together on a Sunday and razz around the Quarry Club. These are proper clubs that are members of the Autocycle Union, so they've got the proper permits to organise. What the DOI should do is quite simply say, look, you can go in there, but we want to make sure it's your job to make sure your event is covered
Yeah.
for insurance. A very simple thing. I know they go on about, well, it's not that simple. Well,
It is.
make it simple.
Yeah. It's only as
You
complicated
know,
as you make
these
things.
events are run under an ACU permit, so there's proper insurance involved, and you've then got to look at the history of it. And if organisers organise something and they're irresponsible, then there's already processes in place to deal with that. So I don't buy all this hogwash of health and safety, I'm afraid. I think it's people being obstructive again, as usual, and coming up with an excuse. There's no let's come up with a solution. It's let's come up with an
Yeah,
excuse.
but there's never a solution, is there? There has to be a solution.
The bloody is. Put me in charge. I'll sort it out.
Is that June Turner announcing he's standing?
No, is it heck? No, because to be honest, as I've often said, you seem to be, when you're in the inside, you seem to have even less influence over what goes on.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another story.
Well, should we take a break and then come back to a topic that has reared its head again?
Go on then.
Okay.
Well, welcome to Friday here from. It's weird being in the conservatory. I'm not quite sure I like it yet.
I don't know if I like it.
It's a bit of a temporary solution.
This is like our mobile classroom.
It's not very mobile. It's built onto the side of a fucking
No,
house.
but do you know what I mean?
It's about to be demolished.
It's like
but,
our version of a school mobile classroom.
Yeah.
Temporary building. You
It
know
is.
what I mean.
Anyway,
Yeah, you have to get
you
into
wanted
the
to talk about
specifics.
something.
Go on, I'll give you a guess.
Is it about Manx care funding?
No.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Manx care.
Is it about that sheep that went missing in Ramsey 4 years ago?
No.
Well, he did say, read a Ted, so it could have been the sheep.
Bants.
Come on, cut to the chase. We've
Okay,
got time for
well, I
this.
think it's probably minimum wage.
It is minimum wage. It is.
Right, go on.
So, minimum wage has reared its big fat ugly head again. And we had Dr. Allinson in the Keys on Tuesday saying that the wage rise is about money in pockets. Now, Sam, you were listening to this, so do you want to give me a little synopsis on what he said?
Basically said that there'd been analysis done. There's 2023 and 2024 independent reports, but there's no new analysis has been done since the resolution was passed by Tim Wood, which followed the methodology that was created by Tim Wood. I know I get thinking about this about defending the government. I'm really not. It's just that this thing keeps coming back to this is a government thing. It's bigger than that. You can't let any of them off the hook. It's a Tim Wood decision.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and look who voted against it if you want, crack on. In fact, you can go and find out on Manx.news how your MHK voted.
Yep.
But this was a wider thing than just Allinson and Johnson and Cannon sat around going, let's do this. But yeah, so he said in Keys this week, the fundamental problem is that we have people on the Isle of Man not being paid enough to live on the Isle of Man, and raising minimum wage is an effective mechanism achieving that, alongside fiscal policies in terms of things like tax thresholds, as well to ensure that people who have money in their pocket and also ensure that those who fall through the cracks have an adequate benefit system. Now, it's very interesting that you mentioned tax thresholds, because there hasn't been any movement on tax thresholds for quite a while. Not real movement. It's here's 50 quid there, 50 quid here.
That's exactly what I think's hilarious about that.
Because to me, it's they're going, right, so what you're saying is that you could have done the tax thresholds, and if you had done that, this is the problem. You see, they locked themselves into this methodology. They then went, okay, well, that's what the methodology says, so we've got to follow it. And now we're getting to the point where we're talking about tax thresholds, which of course is going to be an increase in tax thresholds. It's an election budget. People need to try and save their jobs. But it's like...
Thing is, though, even if they whack the thresholds up, which they should have done, that should have been their first thing to do. They should have put them up a substantial amount, not a token £250, which was, quite frankly, insulting. But now what they'll do is, if they have their way, they'll secure this minimum wage, and you'll watch the budget and the thresholds will go up. That's all well and good. How's that protecting people's jobs? Because the damage is already done by whacking the wages up. The thresholds increase actually doesn't really benefit the business. So the business is still going to be struggling to pay these people. So yes, the worker will then be
laid off.
Well, in the short term, it'll seem great. Well, it won't seem great in the long term when they have no job and all these businesses are turning around and saying, we're not employing anyone because we can't afford anyone. So then where are these guys going to go to try and find a job? And I think, I know we've banged on about it, but I would actually really hate to be a young person right now that's about to enter into employment, because who the hell's going to have them?
Well, there's someone in our family actually who I was talking to, the lad's mother, who said that their son's future is not on the Isle of Man.
No, I had this exact conversation with
he's
someone
also
today.
Involved in a sport, and says that there's no hope for that here either. Therefore, their future is across the water.
And what's one of the big things we're trying to do is the retention of young people, isn't it? We're wanting to keep them here or bring them back here. For what? Why would they come back? The place is falling. And I think it's all well and good saying, let's try and be positive. Let's be positive about the island. Please don't die. No one is saying that the Isle of Man is not a beautiful place. The Isle of Man is a stunning, beautiful place, and it has so much to offer as a island for natural beauty. No one sits here saying that it isn't. But how the place is being run, it's being run into the ground, and it is taking opportunities away from young people, and young people will not flourish here. They have to go.
And those saying, you shouldn't be, talking it down. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? It's not about talking it down. It's about saying that we've got a problem here. You've got to admit to it. That's like the band on the Titanic playing along, oblivious to the fact we're sinking.
I think those that actually care about the island, those that really give a shit, are the ones that are now saying, no, this is wrong and we need to change this.
Well, that's why we're whinging
because
about
none
it.
of us want this place to be awful. We're all proud of the place and we want it to succeed and be brilliant, and businesses to be able to thrive, people to have employment opportunities coming out of their asses. Like, they want to be able to have so much, and the government is just failing.
It's interesting though, isn't it? When I say to people about this and they go on about, this, that and the other, I always say, there's a couple of people who have discussions with me on Facebook, which I really, really enjoy. But it's interesting that the ones that are having a pop at me, their entire household is funded by the public sector.
Yes, it's on the magic
They're
money
not
tree.
in the bloody real world.
No, and
or they're people who live at home and have their washing done for them.
Yeah, and I think this, we've had the local economy forum come out and in response to Allison's spiel on Tuesday. We've had the LVA come out and talk about it. The Chamber of Commerce, Sam, I know that's a bit of not a good topic for you, but they've come out and spoken about it. And the thing is, this doesn't just impact hospitality, which is I think where a lot of people have been putting their focus on. There's so many jobs, and then when you have your Treasury Minister telling businesses to just reduce your hours and that kind of thing. I'm sorry, but what planet are you on? Because, some businesses can reduce their hours, but then they're not earning. But equally, you go tell a care home.
Why does the government want to tell people to reduce their hours?
Well, yes, I know, because they're going to then take... it's ridiculous, but you go and tell a care home...
reduce your hours.
Reduce your hours. Reduce your hours.
Imbeciles.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and the circular economy effect of this is catastrophic, and I do not understand how people still can't see that.
I find it astonishing how anybody could think the solution to growing our economy is to tell businesses to reduce their hours
but this is what
and
happens
cut their costs.
when
we all want to cut our costs, but
we need to get in the real world, and we need people with hands-on experience that knows how that works. They need to be listening to them. You need to be listening to industry right now. Not ignoring them.
Well, the problem is, of course, they did listen to the Chamber of Commerce earlier in the year, and this is how we got to this point.
Oh yeah, but Chamber of Commerce and not
But I think the thing is that they were offered several opportunities to get off this journey. I don't mean the government, I mean Tynwald as a whole. Mm-hmm. And part of that was going down the route saying, look, let's do this in stages. which is now going to come back again next month after being twice rejected as an option.
But that's a nonsense. As I said in last week's podcast, it's like saying we're going to cut your head off, but we'll do it in stages.
But why didn't we just...
don't cut the head off business.
Why didn't we just do an inflationary pay rise? So just a minimum wage hike in line with inflation and then whack the thresholds up.
Yeah.
Would that not have made sense? Because then probably with actually popping those thresholds up, people would not be far off.
The problem is that we did get to this point
living wage,
because they used to effectively follow that, and then when inflation went mental for them, that sort of 18-month period, that's where that's what led to the birth of this method.
Yeah.
To tie to median wages. I do think I wouldn't be amazed if Tynwald does backtrack a little bit on this now and goes, right, we're going to do it in 2 stages. And the second stage...
Just putting off the inevitable.
But the second stage, we bounce back to after the election, which is basically what Chamber of Commerce has said.
It's not a solution. They want their asses kicking. But a lot of them who voted for it.
I mean, the other thing is you go, right, well, we're not putting up by 9%. What are we putting up by? Because it has to go up. The minimum wage has to go up.
Pop it up in line with inflation.
Well, nobody's denying it.
No.
It needs to go up. But...
Whack it up in line with inflation,
and
make sure this government that loves everyone so much shows it in their budget by putting those thresholds up.
Yeah, and put more money. We've said this. I said this in Tynwald. The only way you're going to grow the economy is putting more money back in people's pockets.
Yeah.
But that's not how they see...
genuinely doing it.
Yeah.
And that's not just your earners on people on low wages. You need to. It needs to pass through.
People need to have disposable income.
Yeah, of course they do.
And that's the problem. They don't understand
it.
I mean, it just beggars belief.
I think just moving away from this, is interesting this week. Johnny McDowell owns New Cod on the Block up in Onken. Really good chippy. He said about how moving away from the business costs for them, it's also like there's things like EU catching quotas around cod has led to higher price on that. Yeah. So you now got to the point where cod was now paying wholesale prices comparable to sirloin steak, which is mental when you think about it. But and it's actually expected to go above that. So this is where I think this 9.9% increase you could have got away with before everything else jumped up and before your fuel and everything else could jump up. But because it has gone up that much, and you're seeing things like this where they're trying what was it he was moving to?
Sardines?
No, it was... Oh, God. There was a thing, I can't find straight away, which is they're going to move to a different fish, which is like a
whitebait.
A pound fillet cheaper.
And
it's like, well... I think it might be hake, was it? Which I think McDonald's uses with fillet. So... there's a thing of this where it's like the businesses are already trying to do something.
Yeah.
But, they're trying to find ways around it and they're trying to do this, that and the other. And it's just, in terms of what probably has to come out of Tynwald, it probably has to be, we're going to do this in 2 stages. And that probably is the only way forward.
They are so, I've never seen a government so out of it. Not the government, the entire, there's a few in there, obviously we know who have been fighting the corner here. But in terms of a parliament, I've never seen one that's so disconnected from the public in my entire lifetime.
It's remarkable.
I mean, even back in the days of some of the left wingers, they would never have allowed it to get to this stage.
I did see an interesting one. I think it was Alistair Ramsey on King Phil's show around New Year. Well, they said about everyone says this is the worst government ever, this is the worst parliament ever, and this is actually a contender.
Yeah, no, it is.
Because this is just... Things are just falling apart, haven't they? Let's face it.
Well, I think we have a council that's incredibly conflicted, and we have a civil service that's that's also calling all the shots.
Well, as I said in that interview I did with Alf, is it not... And he wouldn't be drawn on it, and I know why, because he was the current Chief Minister, and if he'd have sort of agreed with me, then the headlines would have been Chief Minister has no confidence in his own Comyn. The point I was making is Comyn is no longer fit for purpose. No. My view is we should go back to a system where ministers are answerable to Tynwald. So if a minister wants to come forward with a policy, they don't get together with the other ministers and all vote on block. They come to Tynwald, and if the policy's good enough, Tynwald will approve it. If it's not, they'll reject it. And this collective response,
It's
responsibility.
nonsense.
It's not working for the island
No, it
anymore.
isn't.
No, and you'll see a lot of this come, mostly from sitting members, and I've seen a bit of it already this week, of, well, we do politics differently here, we have to find the collaborative approach. It's like, do you know what, do we bollocks? It's the classic thing of, what was it, a camel is a horse by committee or something weird like that.
Yeah.
That's what we've got to at this point.
Yeah.
Where, because of you've got 24 people who are then forming a 10-person government, who are then, on top of that, then having to work out what the others all think.
Yeah.
Then you throw in Legco, who are their unelectedness.
Yeah.
But all of that is just not working. It's creating, quite frankly, some shite policies. And it has done for successive governments.
No,
I think the last government you could truly say had a proper hold on Tynwald was probably Ballantyre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, look, this is where we are. Financially, we're a bit fucked. We need to work this out. And everyone sort of knew where it was going with that. The problem is, successive Tynwalds have basically spent their time unpicking a lot of the stuff they did.
But you also had a Treasury Minister and Chief Minister that worked very well together.
Yeah, they had an aligned plan.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, I don't think, without the events of the previous administration and COVID, Dr. Lanson probably wouldn't have ever been Treasury Minister. It would have been David Ashford throughout this whole period. Because I think Ashford and David and Alf are a lot closer aligned.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think all that feeds into this. Every step along the way. It's like second some disaster.
Yeah,
Disasters don't just happen, they're a chain of critical events. And that's where we've got to.
Well, we have, and something I want to do before we finish is talk about King Henry VIII. Because
I love this modern politics.
I think it kind of links into the problems we're seeing with government and the way it's working and not working for the people. And that is this... well, go on, you can explain why did I mention King Henry VIII, who I thought in my graphic that I produced with my story looked awfully like you, but with a ginger beard.
Yeah, I must admit I've put a bit of timber on over Christmas, haven't I? So it doesn't help my cause. But to be fair, neither does the haircut.
I was thinking more of the ginger beard, but I wasn't going to be so rude.
So no, basically,
For a change.
You went down the Henry VIII route because the Henry VIII clause, which is that effectively you have prime legislation, which the government can then alter by the use of creating second legislation, which means they don't have to go back to Parliament to get it approved.
It's very dangerous power.
And you previously saw a lot of this during the Brexit negotiations, and there was talk about it in Britain for quite a while that they were going to use his Henry VIII powers. And then you also get a thing which is a sunset clause, which is occasionally used in collaboration with that, where they're going to say, look, like for this period, we're going to do it this way, and that will then expire on the 31st of December 2026. That obviously isn't in part of this, but basically is that the way they're going to create this this law around, it's the Clause 5 in the Local Authority Reform Bill, isn't it, where essentially it would say that through second legislation, you won't have to get Tynwald approval on some of the things that...
Yeah, what this is about is the DOI can impose any function on a local authority without their consent, and thou shall do it. And the local authorities will have to pick up the cost, which ultimately will mean the ratepayers will pick up the cost.
Yeah.
Now, this wasn't actually a department clause in this bill. It was a private member's introduction by Mr. Hooper, I believe.
Who now is actually part of the department.
And he's part of the department. So, to me, it was a department amendment via the back door.
To be fair, he wasn't at all the department at the time.
No, but we know what it's about. This is trying to punish Bride for daring to step out over the Northern Civic Community site. That's what this is about.
It does have an air of that.
It's let's give Bride a good thrashing and tell them, look, everybody else, all you lot.
If you put your foot out of line, this is what happens.
This is what happens. It's a disgrace.
I think to just give you a sorry, he said that it's about ensuring that everyone on the island has the same access to services as each other. But that
bullshit.
I'm just saying that's what he said.
I know. But it's about Bride. It's about giving
it's everyone having
Bride.
To pay. It's everyone having to pay twice, is what it is.
Of course it is. But Bride did what everybody else should have done. Now, I've never seen a time when every local authority has agreed with each other. They're always bloody nattering.
Oh no! If you ask this lot what day is it today, they go.
Exactly. The fact is that this is bad news for everybody, and we're not talking about. I mean, it's such a boring headline, and people will read the story and glaze over it. But actually, everybody watching this podcast who pays rates
should care.
Woe betide, because it's coming your way, and I don't want to hear anybody whinging about rate increases And local authorities, if they've not sat up, read this and made a noise about it.
And what's the political feel then of this? Is it mixed?
It's a bit of a weird one where so basically what was meant to happen this week was they were meant to consider the amendments from Legco to Clause 5. So they weren't going to have the opportunity to just chuck the whole thing out. It was to debate Legco's amendments, which then never happened because Keys overran because they were dealing with
Other stuff.
it was the gambling bill they were doing. So it's a bit weird at the minute because there seems to be an appetite for this within Keys and to an extent Legco.
Okay.
But
Well, Legco are not half the hat at the moment. I mean, they're just...
I think, to be fair, Legco's amendments are actually better than the ones the Keys come up with.
Some of them
But
are, but
largely
they're
because-
generally just an extension
I
of the
have-
executive.
Zero respect for Legco. Absolutely none.
Certainly the way
And
they...
especially after, well, my final nail on the coffin for me, I was already on the fence, but that minimum wage during that
Yeah.
discussion, I thought,
I had more respect for it when it was basically just a retirement home for MHKs.
yes,
Yeah.
'Cause
Absolutely.
And when I was there...
Which way did you vote on university fees?
Can't remember.
Uh,
I think I voted to...
I'll check that.
if you want to go to university, you should pay for it.
Anyway, so like I said,
I
I
would
never had
be
any
on that
respect for
page,
Legco.
Yeah.
But
Your choice.
certain courses I would feel that should be funded. I
Like
wouldn't
what?
be paying them to go off and do geography.
Yeah, or
I wouldn't be
arts,
paying. Yes,
just
exactly.
to be really
But
controversial.
if they wanted
'cause you're
to, if they
lefty
wanted to
there.
go and do a form of medicine or something like that, I would say
Yeah.
to fund it.
I didn't agree with funding nothing courses.
No, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
going and funding fashion. Sorry, I wouldn't be going and funding going and doing marketing.
Fashion. Sam and I can't talk about
None of
fashion,
that would be
can
getting funded.
Hey,
But
this was boring.
Anyway, we've gone
It's
off on a
really
tangent
a
there.
course
so,
to come back and do a public service.
what were we
I would-
talking about?
So-
Legco.
Sorry.
Yeah, basically now I think Legco is just people who didn't want to stand for a public election or have been rejected by the public previously, or in one instance where you're instigated, or you're basically installed by a foreign powers church. So the Isle of Man is a Methodist country.
He's
But
so
anyway,
against the bishop.
Do you know what? I've never met this bishop. I like the last bishop, Peter Eagles, nice fella. I just don't like the institution. I wouldn't have the governor here, to be fair, though. I'd rip the whole lot.
No, I would.
I would.
I'd make the governor preside over Tynwald again.
Give him something to do.
My
She was
No,
like,
no, seriously.
My heart is going to break when our current governor goes.
yeah, but that's the man. I'm playing the institution, not
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
No,
but
I like
to
having the
me,
institution.
I keep going on about this. They're pissing around over the bishop. Okay, let's get rid of the bishop this week. Gone. Is that going to change our lives? No. So stop farting about with stuff like that and get on with what's going on. They're fiddling while Rome burns. I'm not a particularly religious person, but all this wasting time over whether the bishop is there or not is just an absolute red herring. It's
wasting
all
time.
grandstanding.
So sorry, Sam, as you were.
So basically,
Got me going now.
I know.
That's T-Base
Well,
services
basically,
to him.
so-
You
Yeah.
upset the monarchy.
Well, I've been more following the views of the local authorities. I mean, I did that interview with Tony Brown at the back end of last year, and Tony is despairing over the way the
This
conduct
brought
is.
you and Devon Watson together too, didn't it?
It is my good friend. I bet he's got one of those mugs.
Yeah, I will do.
Actually, that's not far enough left, is it?
No,
That
I don't think the
No,
Yeah.
when I spoke to
Anyway.
Devon, I could see him he was wanting to be a bit right wing.
Do you think he's sort of got
He
the Lib
desperately
Dem?
wants to be
Has he
yours.
got I bet he's got a Lib Dem, a Green, and one of those.
like
things.
everyone in the Conservative Party
Yeah.
like yearns to be Thatcher. Everyone in the Labour Party secretly yearns to be Blair.
Aw.
But, yeah. So anyway, yes, I'm not too up to speed on I've not been getting involved in that because, of course, it's been going through Legco.
But
So we've been
every
following
local
that.
authority is singing off the same hymn sheet.
Yeah,
Mm.
And
it's
we're
bad
not
news.
listening to
It's
them.
bad news for ratepayers.
No, I mean it is like that classic thing of if you can get this lot to agree on anything, you know that there's something actually wrong with it.
But
And-
during my time in there, our job was to sort of listen to the. If all the local authorities came to us as a department, because I was in the DOI, and actually was part of the local government system for a short while before Phil Gorn sacked me. Your job then was to facilitate it and make it happen because they were all,
But
it's
that
all
is-
something
that-
they wanted
that
to
is
do.
your job in
The same
government.
as some of the regulators, if industry in finance came along and said, look, we need this new product, we need this licensing, blah, 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 they'd make it happen. What's changed? I mean, this is a shocking point in democracy.
We've got jumped up little civil servants and we've got politicians who actually have no real world experience. In a nutshell, to be honest.
But I just keep telling people that they need to be asking their MHK, are you voting for this?
And do you know what, it's a shame because we've got some really good MHKs and I do think we have got some good ones in there.
There are. One of them said to me this week, the way it's going, there's going to be 24 new ones. No doubt you'll be delighted. I said, well, as a principle, yes, because I think the whole lot needs to go.
Yeah.
I said, but and then I said, having said that, you're not all. There's people in there that are really working hard for their constituents and are just lost voices. And I think it'd be a great shame if some of those people lost their seats.
I do get the thing where they go, you have to have so many stick around and get re-elected.
Why?
Because otherwise, there's this argument, and you can hear it from a few of them where they go, because you lose institutional memory, and you lose the way of how we do things.
Well, that's the problem.
This is the problem. Though. Rip it up. This is it's like the thing that they got themselves into over planning applications and sub judice, which they still don't really understand. And it's just like all that stuff where you just say like, no, you can rip that stuff up. You can literally just do it. Like
get rid of it.
You just can do it, and you can change how the civil service works, and you can change how everything works. Because you're the government.
And they say, but we'll lose the experience. Well, to be honest, what I've seen over the last 5 years, get rid of it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We have to go back and check how many it was we thought would get back in. I think at one point we had it at like 10 would stay.
But yeah, I think it was we definitely said about at least a half new house.
Yeah.
It was pretty much that last
also,
time, wasn't
now,
it?
if there's an MHK, I was thinking about this today, and I know we're going to have to wrap up in a minute.
Yeah.
Have we got some MHKs in there from this administration that have never asked a question in Keys?
Not that I can think of.
No, I think they all have.
Actually,
have they?
Actually, there is. While an MHK, Jane Wombles has never been backbench MHK, so won't have asked a question.
Oh.
Will definitely did when she was in Timble, because I remember when she was in Timble, so she did ask questions when in Timble, but not as an MHK, because she's always been. She came in and went straight in as Justice and Affairs.
Very
so
good.
won't have asked a question.
Oh, because there's a few in there that are very quiet.
It'd be nice maybe next time if they could maybe think that they're there for their constituents, not for the
ministerial roles.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, are we done?
I think so, yeah. Got much coming up over the weekend?
No, I don't think so. I can't. Do you know what? I actually haven't even got that far. I've no idea what I'm doing over the weekend. No doubt, drinking wine at some point and filling my.
You do that on a school night, though, don't you?
Do you know what? It's the only way I can get through at the minute.
You get the messages in the group. Sorry, guys, I'm on the wine.
Sorry, I've had a wine. I can't do anything, lads. Yeah.
Yeah. Dry January's going well then.
Oh, I never even attempted.
Dry and crisp.
I'm like, look, if I can make it 12 hours in the day without not drinking, I'm doing really well. So that's where we're at. Dry 12 hours.
Put a drink aware thing up now.
Probably. And
Yeah.
do you know what?
Drink
why do I
responsibly.
drink? I would love to blame you two, but it's not. It's those clowns in that white building. Oh shit! I shouldn't have said that, should I?
You're not allowed to say. That's Michelle. You've upset Michelle.
I said clowns.
And Rob Carson.
Oh, Rob's devastated.
Rob. And who else
Laurie
joined in?
loves it.
Hooper loved it. Yeah.
Hooper loves it.
And Rob. I don't think Rob. We were wrapping up a minute ago, but I don't think Rob's intervention in that did him any favours.
No, it didn't.
You know.
It didn't.
I mean, these guys want to see some of the shouting that goes on in Westminster.
It's bloody
It
lovely.
did come across as I have a great sense of humour, but that wasn't funny, and it was just like, just don't.
Keep out of it.
Back down.
Keep out of it.
Yeah.
And what are you doing this weekend?
Don't know. FC aren't playing.
Oh, how are the FC Massive getting on?
All right. Yeah.
What did they get up to this Christmas?
We had a great trip to Glossop where we won. That was fun. Otherwise, yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed New Year. But no, away next Wednesday. So away next week. Yeah.
Where are they going
don't you
to?
go on one
Are they
of these
going to
trips?
Charnock Richard?
She's been invited.
Charlotte Rich, that's a service
Is it
station on the
paid?
M6.
Yeah, but that's who they play.
We
They
do
play
believe
the
that
service
Charlotte Richard
station.
have got the thing of like we're more than just a service station.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it's West Didsbury next Wednesday.
If I come on a trip, will it be paid for?
That's you not going on a trip then.
I'm not fucking going to pay. I can't afford that.
They used to have a very good restaurant at the services at Charnock.
Burger King is lovely.
Well, it was Trust House 40.
Could do it as a journalist trip.
I could be a journalist on that. I could go back into my
You could be a
sports.
journalist.
Yeah.
I could go back into my sports reporting days. I'll send it to John Watty.
Her first ever report for us was FC Isle of Man.
It was, yeah, full circle.
I've got the outtakes for that.
But I could send it to Watty for him to read over and just double check he's happy with me.
Might drop them in.
Actually, on that, a quick thing on sports reporting, Andy Davenport, 20 years at Papers this
We're
week.
not publicising the papers, even though I know Eldal.
Exactly, former colleague of yours, or former
He used to be on the radio, he used to be on Energy FM.
How many years at newspapers?
20 years he put up this week.
God, he'd have got less time in prison for doing something really bad.
I was going to say, if he hadn't killed Dave Norton, he wouldn't have got that long.
Yeah.
So, on that note, if you have a colleague who you don't like, you probably won't get 20 years. That's not inciting to commit murder.
No, you did that. Careful now. Careful.
What, are you on this weekend, JT?
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing exciting. I was going to go on the West Coast mainland with Sam and JP, but we've not got it organised.
No, we haven't, have we? Because it's going through the Ribble Valley.
I told you he would know about that. It's on the Carlisle. Look at the excitement.
I go for walks around the Ribble Valley. I've been on that.
Did you not fancy doing the rerouted
I did. It looked
Avanti
very
service?
interesting, didn't it?
Yeah, there you go. I told you
on a
you'd
lads
like
trip
it.
without me.
See, look at that. Me and a lefty agreeing on something.
No, I've done. That's one thing actually. I've learned, I've taken from this podcast today.
The only thing the
You two
left
have
and the right
agreed.
really want is nationalised trains.
Yes. Look at the enthusiasm. That's a fact. I do. That was one thing I didn't agree with Mrs. Thatcher on, was the privatisation of British Rail. Because it's been a disaster, and it has.
Absolutely.
And on that note,
Look at that. Look,
So is
give
JP...
me a hug.
Oh, is JP not going
this
there?
is so weird coming like clear.
All I need now is Devon on this side.
A rose between two thorns. Devon would love this, you know. Should we have Devon on at some
What a pair of
point?
thorns.
We should have Devon at some point.
Prawns.
Pair of thorns. Yeah.
Dickheads.
Right, well, on that note, we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.